Sonny, year one under Brian Kelly. How does this win impact LSU recruiting for 2023 and beyond?
Well, I think a lot of people are surprised to see LSU ranked in the top 10 of the polls right now. And they're probably just as shocked to see Brian Kelly have the number 4 class in the country right now. There were so many people, so many skeptics who questioned whether he was going to be a good fit in Baton Rouge, whether he would be able to recruit at the level that he would need to recruit at to beat the Alabamas, to beat the Georgias in the SEC. And I think now you're starting to see that he is obviously putting that class together. And a win like this is just going to help them so much more. It's going to help them close in 2023 strong. But I think the real big catapult that they'll truly get out of it is with 2024 and then getting a jump start on 2025.
Sonny, there was instant gratification there from a recruiting perspective. They landed commitments from Kyrie Lee and Dylan Carpenter. How did the win impact their thought process with LSU?
Yeah, and Kyrie Lee, he was a guy who was planning on committing anyway going in, but he said just being in that atmosphere that, even if he was having second thoughts, there was no way that he was going to go home not an LSU Tiger. And then with Dylan Carpenter, he's a guy who was committed to UL Lafayette, a 2023 guy. They've evaluated throughout his senior season. They liked what he did on tape, and Brian Kelly extended that offer, and he jumped on it as well. And the recruiting momentum coming from this right here, it's just going to continue. If you go back and if you take one look at all the crystal ball picks that our ace recruiting insider Steve Wiltfong put in, they even started before the game. Charleston Collins, one of the top defensive linemen in 2024, he got a crystal ball pick. Of course, you go with Desmond Ricks, and just the list goes on and on. But I really think that LSU fans are going to be able to, they'll continue to ride this momentum that came from this Alabama game, because I really think that the benefits are going to just keep coming in on a recruiting standpoint.
Yeah, Steve Wiltfong telling us earlier in the show he lost track of how many crystal balls he handed out to LSU this past weekend. Looking ahead, now that he's reclassified, the face of the 2024 class has got to be quarterback Colin Hurley. He was at the game, although you feel pretty good about him suiting up for the Tigers down the road. How much does he help LSU right now as a recruiter?
Well, he helps because the quarterback 99 out of 100 times. The quarterback's going to be the face of the team. The quarterback is the guy who kind of everyone wants to rally around. And I think with Colin Hurley, with the personality that he has, and just the type of kid that he is, he's going to be one of those guys who's going to generate a lot of excitement on the recruiting trail. He's already started. Tavion Galloway, the 4-star tight end out of Ohio, he's another avid recruiter. And with staffs being limited in how they can contact other recruits and when they can contact them, it is such a benefit when you have these guys who are avid recruiters on the trail and just really pounding those messages on social media for you.
Sonny, 5-star quarterback Julian Sayin had LSU among his finalists when he announced his commitment to Alabama earlier in the week. How important was it for Brian Kelly to pivot and have a 2024 guy that quickly after Sayin came off the board?
Yeah, I think it was big, and I think it's big when you consider the game week that you have. You have LSU and Alabama, and you have a 5-star recruit who picks Alabama early in the middle of the week like that, and to be able to just come back a couple of days later, and I think it really kind of puts that stamp that Brian Kelly and this staff that they are very good on the recruiting trail, and that the benefits that they've gotten in the short time that they've been on it, I think they're going to continue to get better. They're going to continue to grow as they really get to know the Louisiana landscape. They start to build those relationships and really strengthen those relationships with the high school coaches in Louisiana, with all of the high schools around the South. Because another thing with this staff is this staff didn't really have a lot of strong ties to recruiting in the areas that LSU is traditionally strong at, minus a few guys like Frank Wilson, Joe Sloan, Kerry Cooks. And so you really have a staff that is still getting accustomed to the geographical area that it's in.
Sounds like it's only going to get better then. Looking forward to that. Well, on Sunday, you put in a crystal ball for LSU to land 2024 defensive lineman Charleston Collins. Steve Wiltfong also added one for him. What's the latest with his recruitment?
Yeah, and you got to give Wiltfong the tip of the cap there, because I think it was right about an hour before kickoff, he goes and fires that crystal ball in on Collins. And everybody, as if anybody needed any more reason to get excited. But I think that LSU's in a good spot right here. And the reason I think that is that this is a kid who came to camp in June. He earned an offer, came back. He's made 2 games already this year. And though he's got some ties to the natural state in Arkansas, I think that the relationship that he has with Jamar Cain, with Matt House, with all of those guys, really has LSU sitting in that position to where, it's always hard to go inside of a state like Arkansas, Louisiana, and steal some of those top guys. But if I'm an Arkansas fan, I think I'm really worried about Charleston Collins and the prospects of him leaving the state.
Sonny, you mentioned the impact that this could have not only on 24, but also on 25. And one of the better running backs in that class is Harlem Berry. He's a home state player who has mentioned to Steve Wiltfong that he would want to be a hometown hero. What have you heard about Harlem Berry and LSU?
Yeah, and he's another guy. Went to camp over the summer, clocked a really impressive 40-yard dash time right around the 4.4 level. And he doesn't play against the best competition in high school right now. He plays against a lot of smaller schools. But when you look at what he does on tape, you can just see so many of the characteristics that just define a good running back. And Florida State's a school that, with David Johnson, has strong ties to the New Orleans area. Florida State's a school that is on him that I think is going to also be in there when he gets close to that time to where he really wants to make a decision. But I think when you look at LSU and you look at the job that Frank Wilson has done, going back to his first stint in Baton Rouge, when he got Jeremy Hill, Kenny Hilliard, of course, Leonard Fournette, the big one there. He came back to LSU last year. They did lose Le'Veon Moss to Texas A&M, Trevante Citizen to Miami, but he's already got Caleb Jackson locked up for this year, got Trey Holly locked up for this year as well. And so when Frank Wilson has time to really build those relationships and get to know the kids, and he has years to work on them, it's not wise to bet against him when it comes to a Louisiana kid.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sonny. Be sure to check out his work at Geaux247 all season long.